Welcome to Digital Nation, your weekly tour around the best of local TV. Whether it's a police horse making the leap into its own children's book or a library located in an unusual place, we reveal the things you don't normally see anywhere else. This week we visit an artist in Belfast who's been exploring the city's neglected corners. We discover a pioneering woman who revolutionised the motoring industry for female drivers. And we visit Grimsby to find out whether vanilla yoghurt is the secret to true happiness. Yes, really. Loving local? Then let us know what you think by using the hashtag #DigitalNation. First up, we head to Glasgow for the story of a pioneer from the early years of the motoring industry. A Scottish trailblazer in a male-dominated workplace. STV Glasgow's Jennifer Rioch went along to get in the driving seat.
Today I've come along to find out a bit more about a pioneering female engineer. Her name's Dorothy Pullinger and she's responsible for the Galloway car, which is housed right behind me here at the Riverside Museum. Let's go find out more.
Dorothy Pullinger was born at the end of the 19th century and she was the daughter of a very well-known car designer of the period. And when she left school at 16, she was really keen to join her father in Arroll Johnston's factory in Glasgow. And he was very resistant, engineering's not a trade for women, etc. But she persisted and she started at Arroll Johnston's works as a junior draftswoman, which for somebody who didn't go to university was still a possible route into professional engineering in the early part of the 20th century. When she was 20, the First World War broke out, and she was headhunted by Vickers, the armaments company, to go down to their massive munitions factory in Barrow-in-Furness. They employed thousands and thousands of women in munitions work, building aeroplanes, making shells, all this kind of thing.
This is the Galloway. So this was designed by Dorothy with women in mind, is that
Absolutely. The levers, you can hardly see them, they're tiny. They're still across, they're on the right-hand side, but they gradually moved into the middle of the car, which is where we associate them with now.
Do you think that this has maybe changed the way that cars are made today? Do you think that?
I think it was by then clearly understood that women were an important part of the motoring market to whom you could sell. And, right up to the present day, manufacturers are much more aware that they're not selling to a single type of driver. So this photo shows Dorothy Pullinger trying to make a sale to a lady customer, and they're both sitting in the car at the Kelvin Hall motor show.
The saloon, the bigger version, is £370. What would that be in today's kind of money?
Well, I think that's equivalent to a middle-class salary. You could buy a house for not much more than that in those days.
Really?
To Belfast now, where an artist has been looking to the city's streets to inspire his work. Stephen Shaw's vibrant watercolour paintings draw on the derelict, the rundown and the forgotten areas to show that often beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I use watercolours, which is probably seen as an old-fashioned medium. And two, I paint the Shankill Road, I paint derelict parts of the city centre. I go to towns and places that other people might drive through, and I make sure we stop and have a look around and I'll find something. I get constantly asked, do you sit in the street and paint these and do them from life? And I have to say no. This is Northern Ireland, it's too cold, too wet to sit in the street. And if you sat here long enough, the police would move you on, or somebody would start throwing pennies at you thinking you're a busker. So, no, I start with photographs. I source things with photographs. I would take hundreds, with digital cameras now, maybe thousands of photographs. I get my original, I get the composition that way, and that can change. And then once the painting starts, that's mine. It comes out of me. I know what bricks are like, I know what breeze blocks are like, I know what pavements and wood and glass, broken glass is like. So I can work on that from my own experience. And at the end of the day, what I want to produce or make is a painting. It's not just a copied photograph.
The long history of our armed forces is something that's commemorated on a regular basis in this country. But a group of World War II veterans from Liverpool have now received the highest honour from the French authorities in recognition of their courage in the country's liberation. Bay TV went along to the ceremony to find out more.
It's the highest distinction in France, and it's to reward courage and bravery, which was done for our country. This is very important for me. This is a very emotional moment, and what France wants to do is to show our gratitude to those veterans, because we owe them our freedom and liberation. Well, they said that they're very, very proud of it, and one of them told me that he's a widow of a French woman he met at that time in Calais, and that is very moving, and also for their children and grandchildren.
Oh, I'm proud, but I think there's a lot of lads that deserve it. I don't get excited because I know there's thousands of people, the lads, they've had it rough. That's war, and others don't.
Oh, it's great to meet the old chaps, But let's face it, the heroes didn't get home. They're still there.
My brother and father were both at Normandy. Of course, they're not here now, or they'd be getting medals. I think there's enough medals there in the house. I think it's a nice gesture of the French to recognise them in what they did, because it was a terrible... We go back every year and see the number of graves, and the French are very good to us. I think he knows more Lord Mayors in France than he does here.
We're off to Birmingham now to visit a community library with a difference. The Free Library in Walsall is a valued service for avid readers in the local community. But it is housed in a rather unusual place. Big Centre TV dropped in to discover a world of books right under your nose. Or indeed, your bottom.
It's not the first thing that springs to mind when you think of a library, but whether you're looking to get lost in a book, have a chat, or just to sit down, this little bench has it all.
Little free libraries are really popular in America, and there's not very many around in the UK yet, but the idea is that you bring books that maybe you've enjoyed and you leave them here for other people to read. You can take books home, you don't have to return them, there's no fine, so if you really like a book you can keep it, but hopefully people will continue to bring books for their neighbours as well.
We were having little discussions around what can bring communities together, what can we do to look at providing places of interest for the community and actually making it brighter. One of the things that we discussed quite early on was perhaps a bench. It's a sun trap. We get lots of sunlight right on the front of the pharmacy. People tend to hang around here. There's the pharmacy, the post box. There's a few things going on here. It's on a bus route and it's evolved into being a bench library.
So far it's gone really well. It's had to weather all the winter, which has been not the best time to start it, but we've been really impressed with how people have got on board with the idea. It's been absolutely full of books, which to begin with we didn't know how many books we'd get. We've got so many now, and all different kinds of books. And we've only had one incident of damage so far, and what was really nice was that members of the local community sort of got stuck in and tried to repair it themselves, which was, a really lovely thing to experience.
With a dizzying array of options, pubgoers in Leeds are spoilt for choice. But thankfully, help is at hand, as one local enthusiast has mapped the city's pubs in a fun and informative way. Made in Leeds, Mark O'Brien went along to meet the map's creator.
Brannigan's, the Slip, the Mucky Duck. You utter some of these folkloric names to people all across Leeds of a certain age, and immediately the smell of hops comes to fill their nostrils. Well, while some of these old Leeds pubs may have disappeared, one man has made it his mission to map their origins. Steve Lavelle, you're the mastermind behind what I can see on this table, these Leeds Order Around maps. Tell me about the maps. What do they show me?
Well, there's 3 different maps, and the biggest one shows all pubs and bars in the entire Leeds area. And the middle one shows all the pubs and bars of Leeds city centre that have been, well, gone in the past, or have changed name. And then the smaller one, which is all the same, pretty much the same area, just Leeds city centre, but the Otley Run as well, and that's up to date, right up to now.
It's all of these are such packed maps. I mean, this one that's the city centre and the Otley Run, it's you've taken some design inspiration, let's say, from the tube map, and just like the tube map, you've got your various different lines. Rather than the Piccadilly line or the Central line, you've got City West, you've got the Financial District, the Northern Quarter, you've got all these different parts of town. Now, we can't endorse heavy drinking on this show, but do you think, is this something you could follow as a bit of a pub crawl? Would you go along one of these?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're all in tight zoned areas, so you could certainly do well, you wouldn't want to do all of them in a particular area because there's too many. But what I've done in the past is tried to make a pub crawl, making a word out of the first letter of a bar that you're going to go to. So I've done some using some rather fruity or sweary pub crawl.
Post-watershed type of language.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun to do that because then you just got to go to different places and different areas as well.
That brings us to the end of part 1, which can only mean it's quiz time. In which city can you find the oldest inn in England? Is it A, Leeds, B, Nottingham, or C, Bristol? Join us in part 2 for the answer. Welcome back to Digital Nation. Before the break, we asked you, in which city can you find the oldest inn in England? And the answer is B, Nottingham. Though there's fierce competition for the title, Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem claims to be the oldest inn in England, dating back to 1189 AD. Next, we visit a police horse that's become the unlikely star of his own children's book. Writing about Pendle the horse's adventures has become a new and unexpected career change for a member of the mounted police, as That's Lancashire discovered.
I've taken an interest in the aftercare of police horses once they retire. There's no funding and there's no pot of money that looks after retired police horses, so we have to raise that money ourselves. And one of the ways that I thought of trying to get some pennies in the jar for the retired horses was to come up with the idea of writing a book about a police horse. I've got 3 young boys of my own, and so they were the sort of inspiration about that. And I used a real police horse, which was Pendle, that I've worked with a lot, and I've been to lots of events with, and I sort of found it actually fairly easy to come up with ideas to get Pendle's story on paper. And I was lucky enough to find a really good artist as well to come up with some pictures and drawings for the book. And again, lucky to find a publisher that was willing to take the book on and get it published.
After the storytelling session, children were able to ask questions and meet his companion. PC Palmer Davis feels these meetings are extremely important as they allow the community to positively engage with the police.
2-3 times a year, visit a local library. We've usually taken Pendle with us, and I've sat down and read the book to the kids that turn up at the library, which is, fantastic, because it's great that I can get any sort of message, positive message about the police and about what we do across to young kids.
Digital Nation has featured various ways to help dementia sufferers around the UK. And in this clip, we learn of another innovative method to provide relief and care. Knots TV paid a visit to a local care home to find out how dolls are becoming a key part of life.
Margaret Slater lives at Fairview Care Home in Bulwell and has now suffered with dementia for many years. But as a mother of 7, her family says since having Lily the empathy doll, her behaviour has drastically changed.
Mum, in the last few months, has got to the stages where she's always looking for her children. Her dementia's got, she's regressed, and she's looking for her children. And this baby, it's like she's found her children again. It just gives her so much pleasure. And Mum tends to get agitated. And this really seems to have calmed Mum down.
While Margaret's medication hasn't reduced, nurses say the effects the doll has on her is almost better than some of the drugs.
With introducing the doll, we had the positive effects almost immediately. So she was caring, she was more calm. Whereas the medication, we introduced medication first. That wasn't having an effect straight away. So obviously we're increasing the medication, but we've seen the positive effects with Margaret, and the homes now purchase more dolls for the other residents. So I think the more widely spread and the positive effects we can get out there to people, then I think it could be a real benefit with people with dementia.
Next, we head to Burnt Island in Fife to learn about one of the country's most celebrated female figures. The formidable talent of scientist Mary Somerville has been officially recognised, and she'll soon appear on the new £10 note. STV Edinburgh looked back at the life and legacy of one of Scotland's most notable historical figures.
Mary Somerville was born in 1780 in Jedburgh. Until she was 24, her life was based in Burnt Island. She was a highly intelligent woman and driven to self-educate. Women were not given a full education in the way that their male brothers were. This is her home. She and her brother would swim in little coves. They would avoid going to church and get a severe reprimand from the minister. She was captivated by the wild landscape that met her eyes every day. Mary was given a small globe of the heavens, which she used sitting on the window ledge in her bedroom and trying to understand the different constellations. She worked out through her observations that there must be another planet out there, and in fact, Neptune, some years later, was discovered. Mary's first husband was the son of Admiral Gregg, reputedly the father of the Russian Navy. He died in 1807, leaving her a widow with 2 small sons. I think for many years, no interest has been taken in her, and very few people would even know that Somerville Street was renamed in her name. So now that we will see Mary's face on a £10 note, I'm sure this will inspire many young girls at school to find out about her and be motivated.
Now it's time for more innovation and creativity in this week's Creative Kingdom.
In 1855, a factory owner from Halifax called Frederick Walton was knocking about in the back room when he noticed a weird rubbery skin on an old tin of paint. Realizing it was linseed oil that had separated from the paint, he had an idea. Why not speed up the oxidization process, spread it on cloth, and create a new line of waterproof clobber? But no one was buying, and he developed a nasty rash from it. And then his factory burnt down and his business was all on the floor. Hang on, on the floor? On the floor! He opened a new factory in Staines, modified his formula, and churned out roll after roll of what he called linoleum. And before too long, it covered the entire world. Proof once again that when it comes to creativity, innovation, and wiping the floor with adversity, in Halifax Mint.
When a keen sports enthusiast loses their sight, it can seem that their sporting days are over. But in Eastleigh, a group of partially sighted cricket enthusiasts are lining up to bat and proving that the sound of willow on leather isn't just limited to those with good vision. That Solent visited the club to find out more.
Hampshire Visually Impaired Cricket Club are in training for the start of the season, and the coach shares his team's drive.
And then with that bowling hand, I want you to
I love it. It's really, rewarding coaching. The guys and girls that play cricket are absolutely crazy. They really enjoy their cricket. They love getting involved. They play with a laugh and a smile on their faces, which is great for myself as a coach. And they're always eager to learn.
Stepping up to the crease has been especially good for one totally blind player.
I've always been involved in sport all my life. I run a kids' football team for about 15 years and I wanted to get back into sport, so I played visually impaired cricket, but I didn't think I'd be able to play because I was blind. But I've come along and had a go and I really enjoy it.
Team is the most important thing. If one of your guys is having an off day, it's important to support him and hopefully he'll get back into the side and back into the wickets or hit a few more runs. We're a very inclusive team in Hampshire. We play for each other and we win together, we lose together.
Finally tonight we head over to Grimsby, where Estuary TV took to the streets to test a new scientific claim about vanilla yoghurt. Scientists have suggested that eating it is the secret to a happy life. So Estuary's Emma Lingard grabs a spoon and digs in to test the theory.
So, we've heard that some European scientists have recently discovered that eating a pot of vanilla yoghurt is the secret to happiness. Well, I'm going to put that to the test with the help of a volunteer, but first I'm going to find out from the people of Grimsby what makes them happy.
I'm quite a happy person, actually. It doesn't take much. Good health and just daily living, maybe.
Family, friends.
Nice day. Sun shines. None of that white stuff on the floor.
Well, music makes me happy.
Scientists say that the secret to happiness lies in a pot of vanilla yoghurt.
I don't like vanilla yoghurt, so I like flavours yoghurt, but not vanilla.
No. Living in dream worlds. They're just making work for themselves.
That's a no.
I need to start eating more yogurts.
Yeah, we need more yogurts.
Which one are we starting with?
I don't know, I might try the Madagascar vanilla.
Yeah, that looks rather nice.
Luxury yoghurt.
Okay. I'd like to see the scientific report, but I don't. Who actually conducted it?
Some European scientists.
Some yoghurt company.
Probably.
That's what it was. They've got a glut of vanilla yoghurt they can't get rid of. So they've invented this scientific theory so that we're going out buying 6 pots of vanilla yoghurt. That's what that's all about.
I did the lot because of yogurts. Buy some yogurts for me so I can be free, so I can be happy. That's yogurt happiness for you, darling. You need some yogurt in your gut.
And that completes our rundown of the best of local. If our stories have inspired you, then don't forget there's more you can see on each of the local TV channels' websites. Or why not catch up on previous episodes of the show by visiting bbc.co.uk/Digital Nation. Until next week, goodbye.